DePaul coach. He'll begin with some opening comments, and then we'll bring in the student athletes, Sonya Morris and Darian Rogers. Coach Bruno.
This is a great league. The Big East is a great league, and Villanova is a 7-1 basketball team that our players just did a really, really good job. I was proud of how hard they worked, how hard they came after the game. It was it was just a really hard-fought basketball game. We would have liked to have been technically better and a little bit more execution better in the second half when we were in position to perhaps put it away. But Villanova was a really well-coached team. They're an excellent collection of basketball players, and they're not just going to let you run away with the game. And they fought back and cut the thing to 6. And again, the game is won by the entire team. Everybody here did a good job today, a really excellent job. I think Darian Rogers, you saw what she can do from the outside in the first half. And then, Sophie Morris was at an overall good ball game. But it was everybody. Lexi Hell and Bekelja both played an awful lot of minutes. Jory Allen this is just her third game with us, so she's starting to feel her way through all this. And Deja Church had some really, really solid minutes too. So I thought it was a good overall ball game against a good Big East opponent. And I was just really, really proud that they did what we did. We got to get technically better down the stretch, but I think that will come with experience and game time. So now it's off to Butler for Thursday, and on the subject of the other aspect of this game that was so impressive by our players is that Friday afternoon we're practicing, preparing for Marquette, thinking we're going to play Marquette. We've watched tape on Marquette. We're preparing for Marquette, and then with about 30 minutes to go in the practice, we find out that the Sunday game against Marquette was postponed. You go to bed on Friday night thinking you're not going to play until January 7th, the following Thursday. You wake up Saturday morning and find out that due to circumstances throughout the league, other circumstances, Villanova's available, we're available, and we're going to play on Monday. So, this is how the season's going to continue to transpire. And I just, again, want to compliment our players for having the moxie and toughness. And I really also want to compliment our players on their COVID discipline. And I say that with respect for anybody that has to pause because of COVID. I don't want the compliment of my players for doing a good job with their COVID discipline to be in any way interpreted as a statement at any program that's forced to pause. But for the grace of God, anybody can be forced to pause at any moment, but I do think we still have the responsibility to do everything we can to stay as healthy as possible. I think our players have done a good job of that. We're starting school today. We're starting our second quarter. Most schools don't start the second semester until a week from now, 2 weeks from now, and our players are back at it in school as well. So I'm really proud of all the work that the players are putting into this on the court and off the court. It's a really good Villanova team. He still does a great job. I'll let the players answer questions.
Okay, media, we're starting off with Sonya Morris, who was team high 22 points, also had 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Let's begin with Jim Niendorf from We Are DePaul.
I actually, if I can pass it over to John if he's ready. I don't have my question written down yet.
That's fine, Jim. Let's go with John Robleski from Global Traveler.
Hi, Sonya. Excellent game today. I'm just wondering, how difficult was it with the long layoff and then the change in the games and the hurry up into this game? How difficult was it mentally and physically for you to get in the game today?
It's definitely physically demanding. It's the off days. It's just kind of up in the air. We don't really know when we get an off day just because we don't know when our next game could be. So I think mentally it definitely takes a toll on us, but I think we really did a good job staying focused, be prepared, coming out ready to play, which we know we got to do this every game. Each game, it really is. We get a game canceled tomorrow and then another one rescheduled the same day. So I think mentally we're doing a good job of adjusting to this.
So do you just kind of prepare for the rest of the season? Are you guys just kind of playing it by ear, and whenever they throw a game your way, you're ready to play?
You can say that. We still prepare for each individual game, but we know like at the end of the day, just like with Marquette, it could be canceled. So I think we just keep that in the back of our mind.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck.
Lawrence Kramer from DePaul.
Yeah, hey Sonya, congrats on the win today. I know this is your guys' now ninth game on the season. Can you maybe just talk about some of the differences of playing in an arena without any fans in them, and kind of just if you've gotten kind of used to it without having, the support, from the DePaul fans as usual?
Yeah, we definitely miss the support, just seeing the same familiar faces. So that's definitely a big adjustment. But I will say, personally, I don't want to talk for my team, but personally, it takes some of the pressure off not having fans, even though it's still being recorded and live streamed or whatever. So I think just the pressure of the fans is taken away. Also, the opponent's fans, they get crazy sometimes. So I think it's a good and a bad thing.
Thank you, Sonia. Jim Nindorf from We Are DePaul. Have you got a question for Sonia?
I do. To kind of follow up on what John said, this is your third year here at DePaul. You've played Villanova, 4 times before today. Are you able to talk at all about maybe how different or difficult it was to play against Denise Dillon's style of basketball, which seemed to be more up-tempo than what Harry Peretta ever played?
Yeah, definitely. They like to run. That was the big key to the game, was stopping their transition. So it's definitely an adjustment because usually they just like to run a play every possession, but they just like us. So we just kind of basically had to outrun them and wear them out with our pressure.
Thank you.
Does the media have any follow-up questions for Sonia?
I
All
don't.
good,
Thank
sir.
you.
There was one question. Go ahead. What? Did you have a? Yes, Sonia's back here. Go ahead. Go ahead with your follow-up question.
It may have been Lawrence. I don't have any further ones.
No, I don't have anything. I don't have any.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm good, sir.
Okay, we're good. Thank you, Sonia.
Sorry about that.
All right, this is Darian Rogers. She finished with 21 points, including 5 of 8 from three-point range. And this is the second consecutive game Darian has scored 20 or more points. And she is also a member of the Big East Honor Roll this week. Let's begin with Lawrence Kramer from DePaul.
Yeah. Hey, congrats on the win today. Could you, talk about this now, back-to-back games where we scored, 20 or more points? Are you just feeling a little bit more, starting to get more confident and finding your kind of place in the team now a couple of months into the season, and you're kind of to start to see some of those results pay off?
Yeah, definitely. Throughout the games, I'm building more and more confidence. And I think my teammates and coaching staff, they're, really trusting me with the ball in my hands as well. And they're finding me. And I just been able to knock down shots and execute offensively. So, yeah, I'm definitely getting confidence more.
John Robleski from Global Traveler.
Congratulations on the game and your honors. I asked Sonya the same question. With the big layoff and then the change in the schedule and the change in teams, how difficult is it for you to adjust to all that on the fly?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult mentally and physically, like she said, because, bodies, we're preparing and we're practicing hard and stuff like that. So not being able to probably have an off day or a recovery day when needed. So that's the only thing that we really have to focus on. But other than that, I think mentally, just preparing for one team, then all of a sudden have to switch over and forget that gameplay while that game's postponed is definitely different too. But mentally overall, I think we're always ready to go out there and compete, no matter who we're playing against.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Jim Niendorf from We Are DePaul.
Hi, Darren. Congratulations on the win and also your honor roll award this week. From what I've seen, I haven't seen all the games, but starting with the A&M game, you've played so fearless at DePaul. Are you able to talk a little bit about your mindset with that? I mean, have the coaches kind of told you to play that way, or do you naturally play that way at Lake Park, or how does it work?
Naturally, I'm an aggressive player, and I think more and more, like I said, throughout the season, I've been able to build my confidence more. And now coming to the player that I am that I was in high school compared to, being back and just going through the motions. So, but definitely my coaching staff have, like I said, they trust me to have the ball in my hands and trust that I'm going to be able to knock down shots.
John Robleski from Global Traveler. Have you got a follow-up question for Darian?
No, I'm good, sir.
Lawrence
Thank you.
Kramer from DePaul. You have a follow-up question for Darian?
Yeah, I do. Just one more. Darren, I know you're a freshman, this is your first year playing in college, but could you talk about, some of the differences or something different you've noticed about having fans in the crowd right now, than maybe your high school career, and just kind of if you've had to adjust your game a little bit, or how you play without having the same crowd in the arenas right now.
Yeah, definitely in high school, I was a player that was very involved with the crowd when I was to execute or do something well. So now not having fans like to get energy off of, now it's like we all have to just come in with high energy and a motor, things like that. So that's really the main difference between not having fans.
Jim Niendorf from Weir DePaul. Have you got a follow-up question for Darian?
I do, just one quick one. And if you can't answer this, is no problem, but are you able to estimate the longest shot you ever made in high school outside of maybe a half-court shot?
I don't know, probably a couple feet behind the volleyball line. So
Behind the what line?
behind the volleyball line on the court.
How far is that? Can you estimate?
I have no idea. I have
Okay.
no idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kind of a long shot question from. All righty. If any more follow-up questions from the media?
Not for me. Thank you so much.
All good, sir.
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Darian.
Thank you.
Okay, let's begin the second portion of Coach Bruno's session here with Lawrence Kramer from DePaul.
Yeah. Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win today, and kind of just going off, what Darian talked about, her kind of confidence building. Now it's back-to-back games where she scored over 20 points. Could you talk about some of the improvements you're noticing in her game these last couple of weeks that have allowed her to have this spurt?
Darian is a special player, and at the same time, I like to think all of our players are special players, and it's just you want to put your players in a position to play their strengths and work on their weaknesses. And we know Darian's a scorer. She can score the basketball. We know that. So it's about her understanding all the other aspects of the game, and the confidence factor. We hope the confidence has to come from within the athlete. We coaches can instill confidence by putting them in position to have success. But ultimately, the athlete has to have success, feel the success from the inside out, and that's where the confidence comes from. And Darian has had a super high school career, but so has everybody and everybody here. I mean, T. McKell's was the player of the year in Ohio. That's a big state. There's a lot of high school players in Ohio. So everybody here, Tori Allen was basketball in Indiana. Sophie Morris, I think, was player of the year in Missouri. So these players all come from great high school backgrounds and bring so much to the table from their high school experience. It's just really getting on the floor and feeling comfortable with the new speed of the game and the speed of the college game is faster than the high school game. I think that Darian put herself. Nobody here plays. I don't play anybody. The players hear that all the time. You want to play, put yourself on the floor. Every single one of these players makes us play them or doesn't make us play them. And I just really think she's adjusting naturally. It's 9 games in, and we're finding a rotation. The addition of Jory Allen helps us have some inside ability, inside strength, and then whether we continue to use Jory start of the game, keep him off the bench in the second half doesn't matter. Those 6 players are really, really tight into the rotation. They're all starters in my mind's eye, so I really don't. We don't care as a staff. We're just looking at matchups and look at the minutes after the game. But then Kendall Holmes is having a very good freshman year as well. And while her scoring numbers aren't anywhere, they're not off the charts, but she's still having a really solid freshman year. And sometimes freshmen aren't ready till their sophomore years. Sometimes they're not ready till their junior years. Sometimes they're ready the first game of their freshman year. So everybody's different. And we're excited about both these freshmen. But also, I think it's really important that we get Kiara Dahlman back playing. Kayla Caudle and Nadej John gave us some good minutes earlier in the season. We couldn't have beaten Kentucky without their contributions on the floor. Jolie Daninger does a magnificent job every single day in practice, and still she's not out of this mix, even though she didn't play today. She brings something to this table. We're still trying to put this thing together and figure it all out from a chemistry perspective. We're still finding our way chemistry-wise. We had positioned to really blow this thing wide open in the second half today, and instead took some shots, probably not the most advised shots at the moment, and we put ourselves in position. Nova had a lot to do with it, but still, we let a game get that back to 6 and become a game again. So we still have a lot of work to do.
Jim Niemdorf from We Are DePaul.
Yeah. Congratulations on the win, Coach. To kind of follow up on what you said about chemistry, I mean, are you able to say how much of that is the coaching staff adding chemistry? Or is that just the players kind of finding it out themselves?
Well, believe me, Jim, if we could, take a bot, it was like making a fine dish in the kitchen where you put the ingredients together and you put them. I wish it was as simple as us us declaring chemistry. It's got to be discovered amongst the players, in practice in the games, and it's not like this is a team that. This is a team that is really a good, solid scoring team that's aggressive to score. And I don't want to take that aggression to score away from anybody. And at the same time, getting everybody in sync with one another, that has to really come amongst the players on the floor. And we just have to try to keep putting them in good positions to develop it together. It's not a selfish group at all, but it's a really talented group to go get their own. So it's just, you got to know when. You got to know we try to preach the Kenny Rogers gambler. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. That means know when to keep, know when to let it rip, and know when you got 2 or 3 people on you, and you got to share the ball. And we coaches can't do that for them. We can't climb inside their body and be walking with them on every possession. So you get to the rim, you draw 3 to you, you got to kick it to somebody else. And we're still finding all that because we are such a good, solid team in getting their own. That's really how the chemistry. I don't want them to lose that ability to get their own. At the same time, the chemistry still has to. It's still definitely a work in progress.
John Robleski from Global Traveler.
We coaches just can't. We just can't bestow it on them. It has to be found amongst them in the course of practice and games.
Congratulations on the win, Coach. You had Villanova on your schedule for February and in mid-February, I believe it was. So when the switch got made, do you have a game plan already in place that you were just kind of look at, or do you have to come up with something really quick? Could you talk a little bit about how that works?
My assistant coaches are fabulous, and I've always loved my staff. This is a great staff, and basically the league is divided amongst Jill Bizzani, Lisa Rigbash, and Candace Blanks, and they each have 3 teams. Until this year, they had 3 teams to scout. Now, one coach has 4 teams to scout. The other 2 each have 3 teams to scout. We keep those scouts consistent year to year because it just makes for easier scouting. So each of these scout coaches know who their scouts are before the season starts. So they do a lot of work, in the summer and the fall. And then don't forget, we were scheduled to play Villanova on December 4th. So, that game change didn't happen until less than a week before the December 4th game. So Coach Bizzani was really ready for the Nova game to be played on December 4th. And then when the game got changed, ironically, Jill also had Marquette. So, and Jill used to have UConn when UConn was in the non-conference. So UConn got handed off to Lisa. Lisa had in UConn. So to answer this question simply, we were ready for the December 4th Nova game So now it's just a switch over. You got more games to watch because Nova's played more games since the December 4th date, but still, we were ready to go on December 4th. And I think what we've done as a staff now is say, look, team, you all got to be ready for anybody every time. This is going to happen. This is going to happen often. So you just better grab all three of your scouts and try to get ahead on all of them because it's going to happen again.
You answered my next question already. Thank you very much, Coach. Good luck next game.
Thanks. And the assistant coaches really prepare for each and every one of these games. Whether it's a win or a loss, they do a great job.
Lawrence, have you got a follow-up question for Coach Bruno?
Yeah, I have one more. Coach, I asked this to the players as well. Could you talk about, I know you guys have now played 9 games, just the difference of playing without having any fans in the arenas. And if you've noticed, obviously there's no home court advantage as much anymore, but just kind of the main differences of having to adjust without having fans at Wintrust and then going on the road without having to face any fans as well.
Yeah, Lawrence, it's definitely different, and we really love our fan base here at DePaul, and it's a rabid group, and we wouldn't have succeeded without them through years. And yet you just kind of adjust, and it becomes a preseason scrimmage, if you will, and the games are more important than scrimmages, but we do play preseason scrimmages against Division I teams, and that's basically what we're dealing with and what we have to deal with every day. The home court advantage, though, I think the fans are a big part of it, especially when it's a rabid, large, really large group that really gets into it. But the shooting backgrounds, and if you analyze all our great team sports, football is played in the trenches, and there's not a lot of background in the trenches. The skilled players are still getting the ball and running in tight spots. Whereas in basketball, you still have to throw a ball through a small cylinder from a large, long distance away. And even in Major League Baseball, there's different home backgrounds, but most baseball parks are still built for the hitter not to have white T-shirts in the background and to have at least a green space for the hitter to have a background that's got some similarity to it. Whereas in basketball, there still is definitely a home court advantage based on the ability of shooters to make baskets because they've shot more shots there and they're more comfortable in those places. So, there's still a home court advantage even without fans, but the fans are a big part of the home court advantage. And it just makes you appreciate your fans more every single day to have to play games without them.
Jim, have you got a follow-up question? Jim, for Coach Bruno?
No, I don't. Thank you for your time.
Okay, and then finally, John Robleski, have you got a follow-up question for Coach Bruno?
I'm all good, sir. Thank you both.
Thank you, everybody, for covering women's hoops. And let's go get Butler, and we'll see you back here next Sunday, maybe, or before, or maybe next.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.